Hi everyone, my name is Deborah and this is the Edit by DH. Welcome to another episode. Today's episode is slightly different in that it's an experience I had in Korea, and it was something that was quite unusual for me to do. I've never done it before, in the form of a colour consultation. Now I don't mean for my hair, I mean a colour consultation in general. And I know that this is, I don't think, I could be wrong, so please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think this sort of service exists in the UK. Please let me know for any of you who live outside of the UK and Korea if this exists in your country. But yeah, it's a colour consultation that I had with Dustmoth Stography. My personal consultant was called Sunny, I believe, and she was really lovely. And they offer consultations in English, and that was really helpful to me because even though I can speak Korean, it's not my first language. So it really helps to have someone who can explain things in English as well. And she did a great job. So I was really, really impressed. So there's 3 packages. I went for the premium package just because I wanted the full experience to get this colour consultation. And just to briefly summarize what to expect from this and what I'm going to be talking about. A colour consultation is when they tell you what undertone you are, what colours suit you in terms of clothes, what colours you should absolutely avoid, like what's your best colours, what jewellery suits you, jewellery metal that suits you the best. They tell you even what hair colour would suit you best, nail colour, whether prints or patterns suit you, even your fragrance and makeup. It was just so detailed that when I first heard that the appointment was going to be 3 hours, I was like, wow, that's a long time. But actually the 3 hours flew by. I'm going to try and insert footage from the consultation. I tried to include as much as I could. To be honest, the lighting wasn't that great. You might not be able to see the nuances between each colour because some of the colours were very subtle, so it might have been like a pure black to a soft black. So on camera it might just look like black and you're like, I don't see the difference. But when I was sat in front of the mirror and she was doing the colour consultation, I could see exactly what she was doing and what she meant, and it made perfect sense to me. So hopefully you will understand. So the first thing that she did when we sat down was she put this machine to my skin. And bear in mind, you have to come with a bare face of makeup. And if even if you have makeup on, they can just remove it. So I went barefaced. And also a white t-shirt or a white top. So she put this machine to my skin and it reads your skin tone colour, which was so interesting. Before I went, I assumed I was a golden tone colour just because I think I'm yellow, I think I'm golden, and I do tend to get brown, I tan. But then thinking about it, I go kind of reddish before I tan. So there is that element, because normally they say that if you go golden straight away, you're more like olivey skin tone, golden skin toned. But if you go pink before you go golden, tends to mean that you've got more of a pinky undertone or a red undertone. But either way, I just thought I was very golden. And even looking in the camera now, like I look, I'm sure you guys would agree that I look golden. Or maybe you won't agree. But when she put the machine to my skin, she said that I was very, very pink. She even broke it down into lightness, which was L. In terms of the lightness, I was slightly lighter than the Koreans in Korea, like the average Korean, which I found so surprising because everyone in Korea is so white. I assumed that I would be darker or warmer than them. But it was really interesting to know that I was like slightly paler than the average Korean, which just means I need to top up on my vitamin C and D. And like I said, she said I was pink toned, very cool toned. And I'm going to get more onto that in a minute because the theme was me being very cool toned, which was the complete opposite of what I thought I was. So it is LAB. So L was to do with lightness or pinkiness. A is redness, and I have a way more redness in my skin than yellow, as in golden tones. So yeah, I have a lot of redness, which didn't surprise me because it's true. When I have my makeup off, I have a lot of redness in the center of my face. So around my cheeks, just between my eyebrows or below my mouth, I have a lot of redness, so that didn't surprise me. But she said I have very little yellow to almost no yellow in my skin, which was like, what? And then when I told her, I was shocked, and I was like, I thought I was very yellow. She said it's probably because you live in the UK, so therefore compared to white Caucasian people who are very pink, yes, you may seem a bit more golden and yellow, but actually in the scheme of things, you are quite pink/red. So you're more cool toned. You're definitely cool toned is what she told me. So like within the first 5 minutes, my mind was already blown. And then it was really funny because she was like, with the jewelry, she was like, oh, I could see that you're wearing a lot of gold. And I was like, oh, I could see where she's going with this. And I was like, please don't tell me that I don't suit gold. She's like, you don't suit gold. I mean, she didn't say it quite like that, but she might as well have. She said the worst colour for me is yellow gold. She tried pink gold on me, which wasn't that great either. She said silver, especially like chrome, like a darker silver, it was great on me because I'm cool toned. So I was like, wonderful. Actually, before I got married, I was very into silver. My engagement ring's platinum silver, platinum, which is obviously silver, and my wedding ring was white gold. And then I just decided all of a sudden one day that I just don't like silver and I want to switch to yellow gold. And since then, I've just been wearing yellow gold. But apparently, yellow gold is not good for me because it kind of brings out the redness, so it's better to wear silver, chrome type colours. So that was, again, mind blown. And also in regards to jewellery, she said because my features are quite sharp, don't know what that really means, or distinctive, she said I shouldn't wear dainty jewellery, like I should wear big jewellery, like statement jewellery, because she said if it wants to compete with your face, like if you want your jewellery to stand out, she said it's better to wear big statement pieces rather than tiny jewelry, because the tiny jewelry will just get lost compared to your face. So I was like, I don't know if that's a compliment, but okay, great, good to know. And it was the same with patterns and prints actually. So she put on me like gingham and tiny squares and then little prints, like little floral prints, and she was like, yeah, it's doing nothing. But then when she put like big prints, like prints, say like instead of tiny flowers, like say there's like a big flower like this, then she was like, yeah, see, that's better. It's better if something's bigger with you rather than smaller. So that was very interesting. So going back to the colour, the bulk of the session, the colour consultation, is really determining which colours suit you the most. So prior to going to this consultation, in terms of clothes, I feel like black and white, I knew they suited me. But with colours I like wearing, just to give you an idea, it's like neutrals. I love camel tones, beiges. Even with green, I don't wear a lot of green, but I love greens like sage, that sort of colour. I very rarely wear red, fuchsia, like those kind of colours and tones, or bright electric blues are like my worst nightmare colours, unless it's like in a really sassy, chic co-ord suit. Otherwise, I'm not into it. I'm not for it. Like, I'd rather be like basic bitch, beige, white or black. You know, that's kind of my colour palette. So that's to give an indicator of what I like and what I thought suited me. So what they do is they start to put colour charts next to you, and the colours are like broken up into warm spring light, which is basically like pastel-y colours, but warm side. Cool summer light, which is pastel colours but with like cool tone colours to it and a lot of white as an undertone or a base. Then warm spring light, which is sort of like bright springy colours that you can imagine wearing during the spring. And then cool summer mute. Then warm autumn mute, which are the kind of colours that I would naturally gravitate to. So those are the nudes, the beiges, the natural colours, the neutrals, the sages, you know, that's the kind of, the rosewood, that's the kind of colour I gravitate towards. Winter bright's like my idea of hell in a colour palette, whether it's makeup or even clothes. Obviously, like I do like royal blues or navies and stuff like that, but not like the fuchsias and the neons. And then autumn deep, which is kind of just autumnal colours that you can imagine. And then cool winter dark, which is like the deepest colours. Before you guys continue to watch the rest of the video, you can still press play or whatever, but I would love to know what you think at this point would suit me the most. What would you think suits me the most out of all those colour categories? So warm spring light, warm spring bright, warm autumn mute, warm autumn deep, or cool summer light, cool summer mute, cool winter bright, or cool winter dark. They're like tongue twisters. Anyway, so what she did was from each category, like spring light for example, she would put like a row of fabrics on my skin and just flip against my bare face. It was so funny in a way because there was somewhere it was just the noises that she was making. It was very entertaining. She was, to be honest, very lovely person and very bubbly, so she has got like really nice personality. There was some, if she approved, she'd be like, ooh, very nice, and then if she didn't like it, she'd be like, no, you know, it was really funny. Like I remember just like giggling quite a lot, and actually I agreed with the majority of what she said. So her idea of like what is a good colour for me and suits me is based upon what kind of brightens my face. And I don't mean in like a pale white way, like just what kind of uplifts my face, what kind of just makes me look more from lit within and kind of, yeah, just brightens. And everybody likes a bit of brightening. So if something brightened my face, that was a good colour. If something instantly like made it look sallow, or there were some colours that apparently made my face look more red, my skin tone look more red, then that wasn't a good colour. So I don't know if you guys have commented down below what you thought, or have any thoughts about what you thought would suit me the best, but it was actually the cool summer light. So she said all of those colours really suit me. So basically she said that white is really my best colour, and I don't mean like an eggshell, I mean like a white, kind of like what I'm wearing now. She just says it really brightens my skin, and therefore any summer colour, like a pastel colour that has white as a base, is just going to really lift me up and really brighten me up. So that's what she said was my best colour. So even if I go for a pink or a lilac or a blue, it has to be like a bright white underbase, cool toned colour. So that was interesting. I really love wearing these white tops, but I rarely wear cool toned pastel colours, so that's interesting. Maybe I'll dabble with that this summer, be a bit wild. And another colour that she said suited me was black, and I was like, thank you and thank God, because if you had said that black doesn't suit me, I'd have had to throw away half my wardrobe and give it to charity, because I have so much black in my wardrobe. So she said black suits me, but particularly soft black, so not a grey but a soft black, and like navy blacks and things like that. Those suit me really well. She also said summer mutes are okay and winter dark is okay, is good. But she said my worst is spring bright, which is good because I'm not about to wear like bright yellow t-shirts or anything, and autumn deep and mute, which made me sad because I love my neutral colours. I love tan, I love beige, I love, yeah, all those neutral colours. And she was like, no, they bring out your redness. I was like, okay, I guess I'll just wear more foundation on that day. But yeah, so that was really interesting. And it wasn't just like flip, this is your colour, boom, let's go on to the next thing. Like she really went through so many colours, and I was like, wow, this is so thorough. So that was really interesting and not what I expected, apart from the white and black. Yeah, I was really sad about the neutrals. And then, like I said, she went through jewellery. Silver, chrome suits me best. And then she briefly touched upon hair colour. So she had this, I didn't get it on camera, but she had this like long strip of like fake hair, you know, like what hairdressers have to like, and she kind of like went across my face with it. And there was all sorts of colours, from like cool to warm to all those things, like warm blondes, warm browns, you name it. And then there was like cool colours like silvery, cool blondes, all of that. And no surprise here, the warm tones don't suit me, the cool ones did. But even then she was like, they're fine, but I wouldn't say they're great. And she said to me, actually, the current hair color that I've got, which is my natural color, is best for my face. And it's interesting because I used to dye my hair a lot when I was younger. I haven't dyed it in at least 10 years, I want to say, at least. And my hair, it could look very dark or black, but in the sunlight, I mean, you can't really see it here, but in the sunlight it's actually quite brown. And I think she described it as ash brown, but she said that's the best color for me. And it's interesting because when I've dyed my hair in the past, I will like it at first, and then after a while I'm like, and get really bored very quickly. You know, it took me a few attempts before I realized that actually my natural color hair just suits me the best. And that's why I haven't dyed my hair. And even where I've been tempted, I haven't wanted to wander away from that. So, and also, you know, like dyeing your hair, even if they use the best products, it's still going to dry your hair out. So that's why I haven't gravitated towards it. But after having this color consultation, it's just kind of reassured me even more to just stick to what is natural. In terms of nail polishes, she said like deep reds are okay, but again, no surprise, cool tones really suited me. So like periwinkle color, is that a thing? Periwinkle color, really cool toned pinks especially, she said suited me. The rest was just like meh, you know, so no surprise there. But the only one saving grace of my hand is that it's warmer than my face, and therefore it's more forgiving. And also because it's not my face, it's away from my face, so it's not as bad. On that note, all these colors that she said doesn't suit me. So she was saying, when I said to her like, oh, I really love those neutral colors, I'm so sad I can't wear them, she said, you can wear them for your base, that's fine. So you can wear anything for your trouser or skirt, for example, but it's just your top that I'm talking about, the, you know, because it's closest to your face. So that was reassuring to know. And also she said you could have like a mixture of things. So you could have a top that's got white and something else, as long as the bulk of the color, the majority color is what suits you, it still works, if that makes any sense at all. And by the way, on that note, it doesn't mean this is gospel, right? You can do what you like. You can take their advice with a pinch of salt. But if you're going to pay this price for a color consultation, this premium service from color experts, it's worth kind of taking on board what they're saying, especially if you can see what they're saying as they're doing the consultation, and you can see the difference it makes to your face, if that makes sense. We covered makeup. Now makeup was probably the second biggest section that we covered. Like makeup, jewelry was pretty short, nail polish and hair was even shorter, patterns was quite short, but makeup was quite long. They didn't ask us to bring in our makeup, but I did, because I was like, I'm not leaving here bare her face because I've got to go to dinner. So I bought my own makeup. But I would highly recommend, if you're going for this service, to bring your own makeup, because then they can have a look at and see what you currently use and advise you on it. So at first I didn't tell her I was a makeup artist or had makeup artist experience, which was probably cheating, but I kind of like to give people, firstly I feel like it kind of intimidates some people. Secondly, I feel like I just wanted to give her a chance and see what she said without having that kind of biased knowledge of like, oh, this person might know what they're talking about. It was kind of funny because when I showed her my concealer and foundation, she was like, oh my god, these color matches are perfect, they're great. And I was like, yeah, kind of. In my head I was like, I have to match well because it's what I used to do. So she recommended a couple of foundations, which were great. And by the way, she asked me beforehand, like, what kind of coverage do you like? How would you describe your skin? What kind of finish do you like? So she chose foundations with that information. And there's a separate room, like, so you're given your own private room, by the way, but then there's a separate room that she kept going into, which I didn't have access to, where I'm sure there's like a ton of makeup, and she would keep going off to grab makeup. So for example, foundation, she would go off and grab like a couple of foundations, come back, color swatch, let me try it on, and did this like half and half with the two that she thought was going to be the best for me. And then she moved on to blushes, and it was so funny because I really like cool tone pinks. I like pinks in general for blushes, I prefer it. That day I happened to have a coral one, which is my Bobbi Brown Fresh Melon Pot Rouge, and she was like, no, corals are the worst colors for you, orange is worse because it's warm, you want cool pinks. And so she recommended two, one of which was a Korean brand, Romand, from �12𝕉𝕉. I showed it in a recent haul. And then another colour was from Nars. I think it was Impassioned, I want to say. But I preferred the Romand �12𝕉𝕉 one, hence why I bought it. That was again interesting, but not surprising that she chose a cool toned colour for me. And then in terms of eyes, again, cool toned. And she showed me a palette which I ended up buying by a brand called 𝕊𝕠𝕟𝕠𝕟. And I think she said it's a brand that this company, Dustmoth Stography, they've collaborated with a makeup brand to create their own, I think. That's what she said, 𝕊𝕠𝕟𝕠𝕟. And she showed me this palette. Now, normally, I like it, but I wouldn't gravitate towards it. I would normally go for like the warm toned browns, beiges, coppers. This is a bit too cool toned for me. So I did say to her initially, like, it's not something I normally gravitate towards. But then she did a little eye look on me and I really liked it. And actually, on me, it didn't look so cool. And I think she was saying it's because I am cool tone or whatnot. So obviously colours translate differently on different people with different undertones and skin tones, which I get. So I ended up buying it. So you can buy it from them. But I really like this palette. And by the way, of course, they let you take pictures of all the makeup and they even write it down for you at the end with a card, which I'll show you in a bit. But for lips, I normally gravitate towards red. Now, when we did the colours for the clothes, reds just did not suit me, according to this lady, which is really sad because I have a very nice red suit from Zara that I haven't worn yet. Just because the trousers are too long, I'm waiting to tailor it. I'm still going to wear it and feel like a boss bitch, but it was just interesting to know. I love my red lipsticks, as you guys know. It's probably my most favourite colour after nude. And she was like, if you're going to wear red, cool red will be better. But I generally don't prefer cool reds. I generally prefer like classic reds. And she was like, even classic reds are fine, but perhaps not orange reds. And I was like, I love orange reds too. I don't discriminate. So that was interesting. And actually the last colours I would gravitate to are berry toned colours. And that's exactly what she chose for me, of course. But all of these are, again, their kind of makeup line, 𝕊𝕠𝕟𝕠𝕟. And they are all berry tones, as you can see, and they're all some sort of like tint, so it's not as strong as it looks. It can be built up, obviously, but to be fair, when I tried it, I really liked it, so I ended up buying one, and then the other one is about to be discontinued, so she just gave it to me for free. And also another interesting thing is, you know, I told you that I love Kevyn Aucoin's sculpting powder in light, and this consultant Sunny was like, it's a really excellent color, because she was swatching it and she's like, it's an excellent color, but this is the lightest shade. And I was like, yeah, this is the lightest shade in the UK. And she was like, this is so dark in comparison to Korean. And actually Koreans contour a lot, just as much as Western people, if not more. And that was really surprising to me. So the difference is they just go in with a way lighter shade. And I think if you want to create this Korean type contoured look, instead of buying a UK contour, because like they said that UK contour color is too dark, which I do get, because it's more like to define, whereas Korean contour, they like to put it all over with a big brush and make the face look smaller. If you really want to create that look, I would recommend using like a slightly deeper foundation to the one you're using, about like a powder foundation, because then that way you're really going to get a lighter, you know, contour color compared to actually buying a specific contour purposed product, if that makes any sense at all. They recommended a contour from a brand called 𝕘𝕘𝕘, which again I bought in my last haul, �12𝕉𝕉 haul, which I shared on Instagram. The link will be down below. So yeah, I bought all of those things and it was really interesting, and she did a lot of half-halves with my face, and it's fine because it was all very subtle, but it would have been nice if I have any feedback to give if like they just did one look, if that makes sense, like the same eyes, same face, same lips, same, you know what I mean, not different contour, not different blush. Otherwise, if she had gone for massively different colors, I would have just looked like a clown and have had to remove my makeup and redo it again. So that's my only feedback, is give the client the option to just do like one symmetrical look. And then the last thing that we did was a fragrance consultation, which is very interesting. and she asked me what I would normally gravitate towards. So there was a whole wall of fragrances outside, and it was like my heaven. I love fragrances, and so for me, I was like in fragrance heaven, and I gravitated towards fragrances I normally like Jo Malone, Diptyque, Byredo, all of those. And she agreed that those were perfect for me. She said that heavy fragrances don't actually suit me, and I was like, thank God, because I hate heavy cloying fragrances. An example would be Tom Ford. I really don't like Tom Ford fragrances. That's just my personal taste. So I just like light fragrances, even if it's floral, light floral, not like super floral, super woody or anything like that. So she said my best fragrances are like floral, musky, aqua and fresh fragrances. Suggested a few again, and again I would absolutely agree. I actually got introduced to, so I use Byredo, I've used Mojave Ghost, and I currently use 𝕑𝕬𝕑, but I've also been introduced to other ones, but I'd never smelt tulip before, and tulip was really nice, so actually it made me want to buy tulip. But I could have stayed in the fragrance section all afternoon. But yeah, before we knew it, it was all over. So what happens at the end is they give you this, which is a personal consultation card. It tells you what your personal color is. In my case, it's Summer Light. And then it tells you what day you had the consultation and who was your colorist, as they call them, called Sunny. And then they write it down for you, so it's really detailed. And she was kind enough to write it for me in English. I mean, if she wrote it in Korean, I would have maybe struggled to read it properly. But yeah, these are all the color categories, what suits me, what's best, worst, what categories I fall under, what my skin tone is, all of that, an explanation. And in terms of makeup, what suits me the best for eyes, etc., lips, jewelry, patterns, hair color, etc. It's really interesting. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, the 3 hours really flew by. I will link the business down below with their Instagram handle. If they have a YouTube channel, I'll link that below, and all of that. So you can just reach out to them. Like I said, they speak English. Most likely it'll be Sunny. And if you do go see Sunny, please say hello for me. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed it. I really took a lot from it. It was really, I don't want to say thought-provoking because it's not that deep, but it did make me think a lot, like, oh, that's not what I expected at all. So it was very interesting. I found it extremely interesting. And the next time I go shopping, clothes shopping specifically, I'm going to have that in the back of my mind. So I think what it will do is just open me up to colors that I just weren't open to before. So for example, next time I go into Zara, if there's like a cool summer light color, I'm just going to gravitate towards it. And like, especially if it's like a pastel, cool toned pastel with a white underbase, I'm going to be like, that's apparently my color, so let me try it and then let me see how I get on with it. So if I do find colors like that, and if I do get to try it on, and if I do like it and purchase anything, I will share it with you on the Instagram. So if you're not following me on Instagram, please do follow me. All my details are on the screen and down below. I hope you found this interesting, and I hope to see you on the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.